Hello and welcome, foolish mortals, to the Halloween Pick a Card Tarot and Oracle reading. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We are going to be seeing what messages Spirit has for you today. But first, it would really help me if you guys would subscribe and make sure you click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any content. I do upload videos now on Tuesdays and Thursdays regularly. If you are interested in a personal reading, crystals, oracle decks, artwork, etc., I want you guys to go ahead and check out my Etsy shop down below. So here we have 3 piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. Pile number 1 is this gorgeous bumblebee jasper sphere. Really pretty, nice little Halloween colors. We have pile number 2 with this little birdhouse I created, Halloween inspired birdhouse. And then we have pile number 3 over there with this gorgeous dream amethyst skull. So I want you to feel which pile you are intuitively drawn to, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started, okay? We're gonna start with pile number 1. So if you chose pile number 1, here we have this gorgeous bumblebee jasper, black and yellow sphere. So we're going to see what messages Spirit has for you today. I'm going to go ahead and move all of the other piles back. And we're going to see what we have. All right, let me just adjust my mat a little bit here. All right, if you chose pile number 1 with that bumblebee jasper sphere, I can't talk today, apparently. We are going to see what messages Spirit has for you today. So let's see what we have. The first card we have out is the 4 of Cups. The next card we have out is the Lovers in reverse. My mat keeps getting stuck on my... Okay. Then for our oracle, we have Death Rites, saying goodbye, formal occasion, honoring lives. And then lastly, we have the Skull of Darkness, blind spots. Okay, let me move some of these a bit over so you can see everything in the frame. The first thing I can tell you, pile number 1, is that there is something in your life, and I don't want to scare you when I say this, but there is something in your life currently that you might not be aware of that is actually draining you, that is actually kind of hindering your progress in life. This may be a person, this may be a job, this may be a behavior of self. For the majority of you, okay, it is a person. And the reason I say that is because we have the Lovers in reverse. Now, I want to make it super clear that the Lovers card, a lot of people automatically think, well, lovers. But the thing is with the Lovers card is it can also indicate just a significant relationship. Well, it can talk about a best friend, it can talk about a friend, it can even talk about a coworker, it can even talk about a spirit guide, but of course it can talk about a love interest as well, even a parent, a relationship. There is some sort of, for the majority of you, there is some sort of relationship in your life. Like I said, whether that be with a friend, a parent, a spirit guide, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a wife, a husband, whatever, that is actually not serving you, at least in its current state. Now, if you do, if this kind of was a confirmation of somebody in your life, that doesn't mean that I want you to necessarily cut them out. I want you instead to first see things as they are. Pile number 1, I do sense maybe sometimes you are very emotionally attached to particular people or particular things, and sometimes you fail to see things logically, which is very normal. So sometimes, we might be very emotionally attached to someone without understanding that they are causing us harm, or we might be very emotionally attached to, a job we've worked at forever, but it's no longer good for us. There is a very definite energy here of letting things go, of death. okay? And I do talk about death a lot in my videos, the concept of death. And more so, I'm talking about death to things, belief systems, ideas, whatever. But it is a very necessary process of life. If we don't have death, we don't really have true metamorphosis. We don't have change. And when we don't have death, it wouldn't work. Okay. So the natural equilibrium of life itself, of this planet, of the human collective, of the multiverse, is dependent on life and death, birth and death. Okay. And so to me, it appears with this Four of Cups, a lot of you are, when you think about things logically, you're like, all right, I can kind of see where Alyssa's coming from. I can kind of see, even my higher self is like, hey, this particular person or this particular behavior that I do, place I work, place I live, whatever it may be, I know logically it isn't good for me and it's something that I should work on. However, emotionally, I'm kind of like this guy right here. Notice how he's got his arms crossed. He's like, right? It's kind of like a little stubborn energy. Like, I don't want to see it emotionally, or I don't want to see it logically because I'm too emotionally bound to it. I'm too emotionally into it. And that's very common. Okay. But the thing is this particular blind spot, I don't think you're really seeing the whole picture. I don't think, I think to other people it's not a blind thing, but remember, as people, we have blind spots. We have areas of our life that we go about doing and we just almost don't even see the potential harm or hindrance it gives to us. So this might not have been the most positive message you wanted to hear, but of course on this channel I don't do positive messages. I do realistic messages, and the messages that I get I don't sugarcoat, right? And so this is what I'm getting. I'm getting that there is a particular person, belief system, workplace thing that is currently not good for you anymore, and that doesn't necessarily have to be again, overtly like negative. Sometimes, a particular belief system, a particular passion, goal, sometimes these things just no longer jive with our energetic frequency. And again, that does not have to be a negative thing. It's just the way it is. And so again, if you feel like a connection fading, if you feel you believed something you no longer do, don't fight it. Let it go. Just let it go. And believe me, when you do that, when you accept death, when you accept that you have these things in your life that no longer serve you, they will more easily fall apart or fall away, and it will be easier for you in the long run. Again, though, I want you to be actually a little bit more logically minded now. I want you to logically think, is this connection good for me? Is this a connection where I am taking as much as I give? Or is this job good for me? Am I gaining anything from this job? Is this helping in my personal development? Or is this behavior that I do healthy for me? Is it nourishing me, or is it hurting me? Okay? And everything we do affects us energetically. And so, sometimes something won't even harm us emotionally, mentally, physically, but it will harm us energetically. And the energetic frequency that we have is really important. Again, I talk about this a lot. Our energetic frequency, that is our life force. And to play with that and to not set boundaries onto that can really cause actual physical or mental symptoms related to it. Okay? And again, when we talk about the law of attraction, we literally will attract whatever that energetic frequency is putting out. So if we are putting out an energetic frequency that is lower of, lack, unfortunately, all we will do is attract more lack. Okay. But if we have this frequency of abundance and we have this frequency of good relationships, healthy lifestyles to a certain degree, right? We will attract more of that, and we will inevitably attract that abundance into our lives. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this pile number 1. I want you to really look at your blind spots logically, and I want you to use that information now. This is a very important message for you guys to to, in a way, address that and then fix that, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this message. It's a very direct message, but I hope that it provided you some insight. And I hope I can see you guys again in the next video, okay? Bye-bye. All right, let me just, my darn squeaky chair. I need to do something about that, guys. Could just change the chair. I've got 4 chairs here. All right, if you chose pile number 2 with this cute little house I created, cute little, still needs some black paint around the edges and stuff, but cute little birdhouse, Halloween themed, we're going to see what messages Spirit has for you at this particular time, okay? What were you meant to hear right now? The first card we have out is the 5 of Wands. The second card is the 6 of Pentacles. Interesting. Interesting. We then also have scrying with intuition. And we have discipline, training, consistency, practice. Okay. So you know what, guys? I do have a clear message for you. The clear message I'm getting actually revolves around healing, but in fact, it actually revolves around letting go, but actually visiting your past. I think it's actually a great time to visit your past. Remember, we don't want to live in our past, we don't want to live in our future, but we can visit them. And I think it would be actually a good exercise for you guys in particular to go into a meditative state of some sort and channel and look back into your past. And I want you to focus particularly on your past in this lifetime. And I want you to focus on when you were younger, right, in your past, and some conflict that happened then. Because I do sense some trauma, okay? I do sense some trauma that has not yet been healed, which is okay, all right? I've got a lot of traumas that have not yet been healed. Remember, healing is a process, okay, that can take years and lifetimes even. But it looks like there's a particular instance that has happened, or really maybe even multiple instances, potentially with another person, but could also be a lot of things. And because this is a general reading, we can't get directly into what that might be. However, I do sense it is from your past when you were of a younger age, probably a child or a teen. I don't think you were an adult. I think it's child, teen. And there's some conflict that you still actually hold in your heart and in your energetic body. And relating to this, I think going back in and using, like that card says, your intuition and intuitively accessing some of those old files. It's kind of a weird word to use, but it's coming to me as files. So kind of think of it like a library, like books of knowledge. We got some files here. We go back and we're opening up, okay, my time at this age in this particular place. There is a need to take a closer look and to realize that the potential conflict that you feel, or another word instead of conflict, I almost want to say rage. If you feel anger about something, or you feel, can be conflict, anger, or rage. It could even be, there's a word I'm looking for and I cannot get it. It's on the tip of my tongue. But kind of like a fighting energy, right? As you can see in this image here, there's a lot of fighting happening and people are not choosing to put their wands down. And so I think that with this anger and hurt and potential scarring and trauma that has happened, I think you have right to have this trauma. I think you have a right to feel the way you do. However, Spirit wants me to tell you that you are bigger than what this event or events was and were. You are stronger, and you know this. Intuitively, like that card says, intuitively from your higher self, you know that this particular thing no longer has control over you. But sometimes emotionally, you still feel this pain of the past, this upset, this loss, this conflict. And it's going to change for the majority of you, you know. It's going to be specifically a different thing for all of you. But I want you guys to check out a video I did. I think it was called like The River or something. It's actually a great little meditative exercise that you guys can do that helps you actually address some of these things. But I think for the majority of you, you know, even if you don't even know what I'm talking about, if you do go back and ask your guides and your higher self, what is it that, you know, Alyssa is talking about, you will get an answer, because each one of you who picked this pile, there is something here that needs to, we need to say, I forgive. And I used to hate when people said, I forgive, like practice forgiveness, because I didn't fully understand it. Even a few years back when people said, oh, you gotta forgive your dad, for instance. I don't have a good relationship with my dad. Never did. My dad really is the soul. He abused me, you know, mentally, emotionally for years. And he's not present really in my life anymore. And I've chosen that. But what I've been trying to do when people said, oh, you know, forgive, I thought that meant I need to say what he did was okay to me. And then I realized later that that's not the case. Forgiveness instead is deciding to not let it affect you anymore, deciding to almost cut it out and accept what has happened, but deciding not to harbor hate in the heart. And that's easier said than done, okay? It's very easy to hate people, you know, that have done things to us. It's very easy to hate ourselves for things we have done. But the harboring of the hate does not do any good. Instead, we accept, but then we decide, we put down our wands and we say, this no longer serves me. This no longer is necessary. And I'm choosing to forgive. I'm choosing to let go. And I am paying attention to myself. And it's the best for my growth. Because if we do hold on to those hateful energies and we just become consumed by them. And so when I'm saying this, that doesn't mean like that what that person or whatever was right. By no means. It was not right. Did you deserve it? No. No, 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 no. However, it still happened. And so we accept it. We lay down the hate or the conflict that we have, and we decide to pursue something else. We decide instead to pursue the love that we harbor in our hearts. Okay? Not for that person maybe, but for others and for ourselves. Also with that discipline, Spirit wants you to know that those particular traumatic events were part of your training. And remember that a lot of us do have somewhat of a soul contract, that we in a way agree to particular things happening to us, traumatic events and traumas, because when we put ourselves in those positions, we end up really rapidly learning a particular concept or element of the third dimensional existence. So understand that it was part of your training. It's sometimes hard to even think about because we're like, why would I do that? But the more you find out, the more you use your intuitive abilities, the more you're going to see a bigger picture of all of this. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Pile number 2. I want to thank you guys, of course, so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. All right, if you chose pile number 3 with this beautiful, love this. This is one of the first crystals that I really bought from my personal collection. This is your reading, pile number 3 with this beautiful dream amethyst skull. Okay, what messages does spirit guide, your higher self, what messages do they have for you today? The first card you have out is the Knight of Pentacles. Second, the King of Swords. Okay. We also have Lady de los Muertos with acceptance and equality. And we have Burnt by the Sun, ambition, extension, reach. Ooh, all right. Intense. Let me go ahead and, move some of these things out of the way. All right. The first thing I can say, the first message that is just appearing to me is acceptance, of course. This is kind of similar to pile 2, but not exactly. There's a lot about accepting where you are in life, okay? And I think you're really meant to hear this message right now, and I'm going to say it directly. You are where you are exactly meant to be right now. If you are watching this video right at this particular time, you were led to, and you were led to hear this message. And the message revolves around you are beautiful, you are successful, you are perfect in your own way. And so if you ever feel like, oh, I should be farther along in life, or, I should have done this and not that, no. Everything, almost everything, I take that back. Almost everything does happen for a reason. And it has happened for your personal growth. Okay, that's the first thing I want to tell you. I want to also tell you that there are so many great opportunities coming to you. So many possibly new people, new work, new hobbies, new beliefs, new passions. But part of your hindrance, I must say, is that in a way you want to rush things. You are not as patient as you should be. And I'm sure you hear this saying a lot, divine timing. There are things that you have planned prior to incarnating that are meant to happen at a particular time. And believe me, it's for the best. So when it comes to things that don't seem like they're working out, trust it. Trust that yourself and your guides have planned this for you, okay? Because if you don't, we have this saying here on the right card that says burnt by the sun. What this means is that we have this beautiful sun, this life force, this goal. Think of the sun as your highest goal. And the sun provides us this warmth. It provides us this energy. It provides us our life. It's big. It's fiery. It's beautiful. It's everything we want. But if we go too quickly and too close to the sun at the wrong time, we will get burnt, right? And so understand that particular people, again, passions, goals, all of these things will come to you when the time is right. Because here we have the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Swords. And I think logically, you know this. I think logically you're like, oh, right, but I'm freaking sick of hearing divine timing. I'm sick of hearing, and like, I feel you, because like sometimes I'll watch videos, I'm like, oh my God, I'm sick of, but listen, it's right. It's right. With the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight is, of all the knights, the Knight is the slowest knight. But notice how he has this pentacle in his hand, and in the distance here, he's got these beautiful fields, and he's kind of looking out. This is somebody who has planned. This is somebody who is not spontaneous. A lot of times I'll tell you guys to be a bit spontaneous. Now, this is not a good time to be spontaneous. This is a time to think about our actions, to plan what we're going to do, and notice that the work we put in now will have a greater payoff, okay? We could, for instance, change this Knight of Pentacles into the Knight of Wands, but if you did that, you would not get the abundance in its fullest form. You wouldn't, okay? So I want you to kind of become the archetype of the Knight of Pentacles. Realize that you have this power, but that you are planning and you are waiting. Okay, you are waiting, and you're waiting for those seeds to grow. And true, I do feel a lot of you have already put in the work, right? The Knight of Pentacles usually indicates someone who has already put in the work. I think you have. And believe me, all of this work that you've done spiritually, but also physically, in your life, there is going to be a big payoff on it. But with the King of Swords too, the King of Swords, like I said, logically, you're thinking logically, but also with the King of Swords, this, with the sword, we talk a lot about mental clarity. We talk about being concise. And so again, make sure as you go forward in your career, and mostly the Knight of Pentacles does talk about career, work, hobbies, life purpose. So for the majority of you, make sure you are, again, kind of becoming the King of Swords, and you are using that sword to bring mental clarity to yourself. You're seeing things clearly for how they are. You're not getting too consumed by fire energy. You're not getting too consumed by let's get this done, or let's go. Instead, Spirit wants you to take a step back and be logical and think, okay, what would be the best course of action in a logical stance? As in, if you want to go somewhere, maybe work on planning a bit more with the money, or, just more planning. Now, more planning doesn't mean inaction, but rather it means that we don't just make boom decisions like that. Sometimes that's needed for people. Right now, pile number 3, it's not. It's the opposite. We want to plan. But with the acceptance card too, the big thing I get with this though is accepting that without that waiting, the equilibrium of life wouldn't be met. And I talked a little bit about that in pile number 1. But this kind of idea of an equilibrium, that planet Earth has an equilibrium, an energetic equilibrium. So do you, like so does the human collective and other planets and blah, blah, blah. But we need, if we all just were very spontaneous, things would not work. And so it's your part, actually, pile 3, to be the one who waits right now. And that's kind of confusing to think about. But now, of course, you have free will, right? And so I'm not saying like, you got to do this. But I'm saying for your highest good, right now, it's good to look at things logically, take your time, and really plan things out. Because again, you got all of this beautiful, I want to say, just opportunities and abundance that is going to be coming to you. But that, think of it like I'm saying, imagine if you were able to, which obviously you're not, because if you get even close to the sun, you would burn to an absolute crisp, okay? But think of it, if you were, you got a rope and you're floating through space and you're holding it, you're tethered to it, you're getting closer to the sun, you want to get to the sun, but it's getting really, 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 really hot. Instead of just going up to the sun, I'm going to prepare myself and I'm going to put on this special suit, right? I'm going to put on this special suit, and that special suit is the planning. That special suit is the acceptance of being able to wait. It's the acceptance of things that have happened. It's the acceptance of the things that are, and it's about the acceptance of things that will be. And I hope that makes sense, pile number 3. So I hope you enjoyed this little Halloween themed reading. I hope you can watch another one of my videos. I got plenty on here, and know that I upload every Tuesdays and Thursdays now. So have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.